Hey everyone, Sarah Jakes Roberts has finally spoken up on her father, Bishop T.D. Jakes, and what she revealed has the entire faith community and beyond buzzing, because for years people have admired the powerful bond between father and daughter, yet also quietly speculated about the pressures, struggles, and unspoken truths that come with being the child of one of the world's most famous pastors. And Sarah's words now peel back the curtain on a story of faith, resilience, struggle, and deep love, starting from her earliest years when she was thrust into the spotlight not by choice but by birth, growing up in the household of Bishop Jakes, a man who built the Potter's House into a megachurch empire, led conferences that drew tens of thousands, wrote best-selling books, and influenced presidents, celebrities, and ordinary believers alike. But while the world saw the polished preacher, Sarah saw the man behind closed doors, the father who wrestled with the weight of carrying a global ministry, and it shaped her in ways she admits she didn't always understand until adulthood. And now that she's in her late 30s, a wife, mother, preacher, and best-selling author herself, she is finally giving voice to the complexities of her journey, recalling the pain of becoming pregnant at just 14 years old, when her father's name was at its peak in Christian circles, a moment that not only shattered her self-confidence, but also put her family in the harsh spotlight of public scrutiny, forcing Bishop Jakes to balance the role of a protective father with that of a world-renowned preacher whose every move was dissected. And Sarah admits that while her father never turned his back on her, she did feel the crushing weight of disappointing a man who was revered by millions. And in speaking now, she reveals that this moment became a turning point in their relationship, because while the world might have expected him to distance himself from her, he instead doubled down on love, guidance, and grace, even when his heart was breaking. And Sarah reflects on how she carried shame for years, trying to live up to the towering shadow of Bishop Jakes, often feeling like she would never measure up. But as she began finding her own voice through Woman Evolve, her books, and her sermons that now reach millions online, she began to realize that her father's legacy was not meant to overshadow her, but to plant seeds that would eventually help her grow into her own calling. And in her recent reflections, she makes it clear that T.D. Jakes is not just a father in the natural sense, but also a spiritual covering who has both protected and challenged her. And yet, she admits there were seasons of silence between them, where her struggle to define herself apart from her father's name caused tension, moments where she questioned if she was simply Bishop Jakes's daughter, or truly called by God in her own right. And what makes her recent words so powerful is that she openly acknowledges that while the world places her father on a pedestal, she has seen his humanity, his exhaustion, and his vulnerabilities. And she now believes that part of her calling is to honor him, not just for the legend he is, but for the sacrifices he made behind the scenes, like sleepless nights, moments of doubt, and the burden of leading a global ministry while trying to be present for his family. And Sarah's confession is stirring such strong reactions because it touches on universal themes of living in the shadow of great parents, the pain of personal failure, the power of grace, and the resilience required to not only rise, but to thrive. And she admits that there were times she wanted to walk away from ministry completely, convinced she didn't belong on a pulpit, only to have her father remind her that the same God who called him was calling her too. And now, as she stands as one of the most influential female pastors of her generation, leading with authenticity, transparency, and vulnerability, her words about Bishop Jakes serve as both a tribute and a testimony, showing that their relationship is not one of perfection but of perseverance, one where love is not about never falling but about always choosing to rise again. And in finally speaking up, Sarah has given the world not just a glimpse into the life of a famous preacher's daughter, but into the heart of a woman who found her voice by first confronting her pain, who found her ministry by first walking through shame, and who found her purpose not by rejecting her father's influence, but by embracing it as she could build her own destiny. And now the story of Sarah and Bishop T.D. Jakes is not just about a father and daughter, but about legacy, healing, and the undeniable truth that sometimes the greatest sermons are not preached on pulpits but lived in the private, messy, complicated, yet deeply beautiful realities of family. Thanks for watching.